Hey, God bless you. Hey, this is Pastor Starsky DeBerry. Hey, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of NextLevelTeachers.com, where we help you to build the skills that attract promotion. On today's lesson, little lesson, I just want to share with you just a little nugget again. I always say that of a message that I've preached before, but it's good to teach it a little bit again because you get fresher substance out of it and you get some perspective out that I probably didn't say during the time that I actually preached it. When I was thinking about taking my life to another level, when I was praying and I was asking God for a blessing or asking God to take me further, those types of things, when those type of confessions started happening, there was one answer that came to me during this time, and this is the title of the lesson that I'm talking about. And I don't know if you can see this, I'll put it on the screen, but it's called Lifting the Standards. Lifting the Standards. If you're ever going to do something significant with your life, if you're ever going to climb out the hole or the pit that you're in, if you're ever going to take higher ground, if you're ever going to stretch further, you have first got to raise the standard. You got to lift the standard. See, most people think that it's just based upon just a simple decision. But just saying make a decision is too vague. The decision got to encompass something. What am I making a decision about? Yes, you can think in your mind that, hey, I want better, I'm going to do better tomorrow, but that's just passive decision making. When you're talking about lifting a standard, raising the standard, doing more than what my mom and my dad did, going in a different direction than my brothers and my sisters, actually pioneering something, stretching out a little further, changing my family tree, those types of decisions, it takes a different kind of attitude behind it. So today I'm going to try my best to really give you some revelation on how you should lift the standards in your life. You can't see this, but I'm still continue to talk because you may be able to see it. But in your life, we spend most of our life working so hard at trying to get something. And I mean, it's like an uphill battle most of the time, especially if you are in the middle class. I mean, it's everything is a little bit harder versus if you were poor or if you were rich, but that's a whole nother different subject. And nobody wants to spend their whole life on an uphill battle. Nobody wants to spend their whole life trying to reach something that they only kind of get just a little tip of the iceberg. In this demonstration, the guy is just hammering away and he finally gets very close to what he's trying to reach, but then he gets exhausted and he's finally like, hey, you know what, I am done. And many of you are at that level where you're thinking like, you know what, I gave it my best shot, hey, I am like done, and I totally understand why you would come to that place. But my job is to collide with you, to intersect you, to say, hey, come on, give it one more chance. Why? There is a scripture, and the latter part of this scripture says that the enemy comes in like a flood, and the Spirit of the Lord lifts up a standard. In your life, what blesses people the most in all of our lives is when somebody raises the standard. In the olden days, especially in the black days where black people were just starting to come into certain levels of success, it was this woman, I cannot remember her name, but she stood out to me really, really strongly because she invented the pressing comb. Black people back then, hair was always tight and to their head. She created a pressing comb which straightened out black hair and allowed black hair to kind of lay, like white hair does, and that's a whole nother subject. But She became one of the first black millionaires back then. A black millionaire back then. And I always thought when I was younger, what did that do to the mindset of her family that she back then broke the barrier and became a black millionaire back then? It's like, wow, and her kids did not follow her legacy or anything like that. It didn't pan out to anything as far as I remember, but I got to read up on it. But I was just so impressed that she created something that caused her to break through the ceiling of poverty and put her into millionaire status back in times where people were just scraping pennies. And the fact of the matter is she was a woman and she was black, so I was thinking, wow, amazing symbolism that really don't give anybody any excuse to try to feel victimized. Whenever a lot of negativity comes into your life, complaining never helps. Moaning never helps. Being angry at everybody never helps. Becoming a victim never helps. The only thing that pulls us up consciously, that pulls us up spiritually, is when somebody raises the standard. In your life right now, you need to raise the standard. Why is it important to raise the standard? It's because the level of your life, like, let me use this as an example. You see how families rejoice when they have their child being the first child to ever go to college, or the first child to ever become a doctor, or the first child to ever go to the NFL or any sports entertainment, or this is my child that became this mega star and different things like that. Whenever you have somebody in your family, in your close range, reach those type of heights, it causes all of us to believe that it's possible. You can be the person that helps a number of people believe that it's possible, but you got to raise the standard. You got to raise the standard. And most people feel that raising the standard means that the only thing I do is just maneuver inside of tradition, or routine. I just stretch a little bit to the left in the same circumference of traditions and routine. And that's not what I'm talking about here. Raising a standard is doing something that causes you to break the back of poverty in your family lineage, that causes you to create such a consciousness and health to where you change the whole eating habits and eating awareness of your generation, and it affects the next generation. You do something that your younger siblings and your parents look at you and they aspire to do better. So I want to encourage you, as you're setting your goals, as you're looking at your plans going into the new year, how can you raise the standard in your life? Now, if you just focus on what is happening negatively, you're going to miss what I'm saying. Because negativity is something that is just inevitable. It's going to happen to everybody. Everybody is going to get a mixture of obstacles and a mixture of opportunity. The same wind blows on all of our sails. So the wind is really not necessarily the problem. The problem is us figuring out how to overcome, how to conquer, how to maneuver through this storm so that we can take higher ground. So it is in you to be able to have the answers to solve the problems in your life. And the Lord will give you grace to do that. That's what I pray. But let me ask you, what is something that in your family lineage that nobody has ever tried to do, nobody has ever ventured out to say that I'm going to be the first one? That area, would you consider raising the standard, no matter what age you are? Would you consider raising the standard so that belief can grow in your household? Because with belief, some powerful things begin to happen when a person believes. So hey, my name is Pastor Starsky DeBerry. Hey, thank you for joining me on this little mini segment here at nextlevelteachers.com. It's the website where we help you to build the skills that attract promotion. Hey, see you on the next episode. God bless.